why your affirmations are not manifesting a different life for you. I want to talk about this today. I'm Avery Virginia. I'm a spiritual intuitive, a medium, and a soul mentor. I help people to connect to the spiritual world, understand what's holding them back from creating the life that they want, and to feel into who they really can be. And one of the major things I see, although I don't dislike affirmations, not entirely, a lot of people say throw them out, they don't work. I do like them, but they don't work if you don't buy it. If you don't believe what you're saying, if you do not feel that what you're saying has truth, right? You will actually create more resistance in you. So if you looked at your bank account and you thought, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to pay rent? Like, I'm very worried, I'm very stressed. And you just said, abundance is mine. But you still, and you still felt that anxiety and you said it again, you start to think, you know what? This is crazy. This is insane. You're basically just pulling this thing apart. They're too different. Now, for people that does work, it's because maybe they've really understood that abundance is theirs and that they're in this temporary holding period where they haven't manifested something different, and they can remind themselves with the affirmations. Affirmations as a reminder of what you know to be true, as a calling yourself to a focus that's not on the frequency where you were sort of straying from your true beliefs. That is very helpful. Very, very, very helpful. I use that all the time, right? Everything's always working out for me if I said that, but my underlying fear and belief and lean was that there's chaos everywhere and that bad things happen to me, it'd just be lying. I would be not authentic. It wouldn't be genuine. Now, there are some people whose maybe their minds are programmable enough that they say, I'm just going to say it until I become it. But I can see why many people are actually getting very disappointed, just disconnected to affirmations, even though they were really, really popular, especially in the early 90s. It was they were resurfacing. But, mantra has been around for a very long time in the yogic traditions as repeating something. So let's talk a little bit about mantra as opposed to affirmations. They're similar in a way, but mantras were typically repeated, sort of even like a prayer where there was repetitive sound. So some of the more Catholic prayers and chants, all of these things, they were repeated. So they were a focal point for a meditative state, right? They weren't necessarily what you claimed over your panic. They were somewhere for your mind to hook into. And now words have power, right? Words have meaning. And a lot of mantras in the yogic tradition were in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit had very specific sounds to represent specific energies to embody what they were saying. And so, you look at a very simple one, Hamsa, right? And it had a specific energy. And so people would repeat that for a certain amount of time, but it was also, I am focusing on this unique frequency, this word, but to clear the debris out of my mind. So that is the difference between just, you can affirm that, right? It's a difference between, affirming something once or twice and repeating a mantra as a meditative tool. Now, you could take an affirmation of your own creation and repeat it in meditation to fix yourself upon that. You still have to believe it a little bit, but let's say you're exploring it. You don't know how to fully believe, but your consciousness is on board, right? You're not embodying it, but you're open to it. And you practiced it more like a mantra. So, I am safe in my environment. And you didn't try to force that feeling. You said that 30, 40, 50 times while quieting the mind to only that, while breathing in a relaxed body in an open state. You would be sending out a very, very strong intention while also quieting the mind to get into a different brainwave state, out of the stress state, to receive that. And so now you have intention and a receiving mind and open body state. So you're more likely to be able to feel. It's basically you've gone into a meditative state, but you've directed the content. And that is where a repetitive affirmation might be very helpful. Now, If you're looking for an affirmation that you can do not in a meditative state, but while out driving, I recommend looking for something you do believe that can shift you just enough from the old story, right? So we can't jump so far. So again, coming back to that narrative, if you are negative in your bank account and you say, I'm a millionaire. If you can believe that and you can embody that, please do it. Please do it and leave it in the comments and tell us all about it. I'm a little bit of a doubter and I want to believe that, but it's a big leap if I was sitting in the negative. So I might say something like, I can recover from this. People recover all the time. There's so many ways to shift and make more money. There is so many ways to come out of a situation that's stressful. I am safe in this moment. Anything like that. And you know what? That would soften me and that would bring me back. And if I started to believe in that, that would start to show up a little bit more. But know that these things are really creating us to be a more open vessel for spirit, for life, for manifestation, if you will. But often, some specific manifestations don't happen because either we're really not on board with them or they're not in our soul's journey. So they're just such a veering from our highest truth, from our divine loving self. And they're a product of our environment in such a way that as you become more spirit to manifest it, they don't show up or they start to move away because it's not what you would have chosen in a more connected, aware state. So meaning kind of your higher self wouldn't have chosen that. Now, does that mean your higher self is this monk who doesn't want any of the fun things? No, it just means some of our desires are actually based on societal expectations and programming. And we can create them if we focus enough, but sometimes our intention is really more to be on our spiritual journey, on our soul's journey, bringing our true light to the world. And so not enough energy goes to those things, even though we might sit there and say, I really want this one car, I want this one car. But at the end of the day, that may not be what you really want. You may really want to be in love with life and have a car that's great and to travel the world. And so that one car that, your whole family would be really impressed by doesn't show up because you didn't need that to get there, to get what you truly wanted. Now, nobody is up there judging your desires, nobody. But your own higher self, it does feel more passion about some things. We did come into this life with a unique creative potential and a certain lean towards certain things, certain limits in our experience, at least to start out with, that create who we are. And so as you're manifesting and as you're affirming, it's the things that feel really true and authentic to you on a soul level that are going to work the best. So keeping that in mind, and we don't have to focus on each and every one of those things to get them. We can merely focus on knowing our higher selves, following our heart, and connecting to our higher truth to get there. But sometimes it is fun to be intentional, and sometimes when we have a really big block in one area, intentionally stepping beyond it, saying, on a soul level, I don't think that I never have a life partner, but I keep coming up against it, so I'm gonna focus specifically on that. But other people are gonna say, I'm just gonna focus on living my truth, knowing that if there's a life partner or a lover, they'll just show up. Neither are a wrong way to get there. It's just sometimes when we have a lot of resistance, we work on that one sticking point. We push in that one manifesting direction, really just to expand our limiting beliefs, to open to that possibility. But then the more we let it go, the easier it is. We don't often realize that our unconscious affirmations, the stories we're telling all day, the negative affirmations are running. It's really not very affirming, but we are affirming something. We're affirming, I'm limited, I'm lackful, I'm not that great, I'm really always mess things up. And you might not consciously think you're doing that, but if you stopped and listened to your mind in any scenario where you were frustrated or angry or not going well, you might trace back to a sense of unworthiness or a sense of believing that the world is cruel and unfair. And it's not hard to get there when you look out from that perspective. So it's going to take some deep spiritual diving to see another narrative or to choose another narrative and to see from that lens. So tell me what you think. What are your feelings around affirmations? What work for you? I know it's not a black and white practice, but it is really about making sure that what you're claiming and saying, you can feel and embody, at least in that moment. And it's a reminder of a truth that feels very true to you, or that you consciously know is true to you, and you're working towards feeling that. So try to find those affirmations. I'd love to hear some of yours in the comments. And if you haven't tried using it as a meditative mantra, try it out. Repeat something 60 times, either aloud or inwardly in a calm state, and focus your eyes either closed or outside on maybe a tree, and see if you can't start to feel into something that might be new for you. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever we're doing here on YouTube, and feel free to ask me questions if you'd love for me to answer them in video format. Again, I'm Avery, Virginia. You can check my website for my offerings and how you can work with me further if you're interested.